everyone. This is the Crime Cafe, your podcasting source of great crime, suspense, and thriller writing. I'm your host, Debbie Mack. Before I bring on my guest, I'll just remind you that the Crime Cafe has 2 ebooks for sale, the 9-book box set and the short story anthology. You can find the buy links for both on my website, debbiemack.com, under the Crime Cafe link. You can also get a free copy of either book if you become a Patreon supporter. You'll get that and much more if you support the podcast on Patreon, along with our eternal gratitude for doing so. I would also like to recommend Stitcher Premium if you're a fan of podcasts. If you like true crime or crime fiction, there are loads of podcasts out there for you. And with Stitcher Premium, you can listen to the exclusive archives from Criminology or bonus episodes from True Crime Garage. You can also listen ad-free to episodes of your favorite podcasts. I've subscribed, and for only $4.99 a month, it's nice to have ad-free entertainment. Just go to stitcher.com/premium and use the promo code CRIMECAFE, that's one word, all caps, to try it out. Absolutely free for a month. Hi, everybody. My guest today writes mystery and suspense novels. Her latest novel and her giveaway book is Bar None, from the Murder on the Rocks mystery series. A board member of Sisters in Crime, New York Tri-State, MWA, and the International Thriller Writers. She's also a founding member of Sirens of Suspense, a group that offers expertise and knowledge for aspiring crime writers. I'm pleased to have with me again, Cathi Stoller. Hi, Cathi. It's great to have you on.
Hi, Debbie. It's great to be here.
I'm so glad. Oh, well, it's my pleasure, believe me. And I'm just glad you're here and doing well, I hope, in New York.
Yeah, like everyone else, it's just been
a little off-putting.
Yeah, even just going outside, there's not the usual energy, or you feel it after a while. I'm sure you know what I mean. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's strange times overall. Tell us a little about Jude Delane. Am I saying that correctly? Jude Delane? And the Murder on the Rocks series.
Well, Jude owns the Corner Lounge on 10th Street and Avenue B on the Lower East Side. She seems to have a penchant for getting in trouble and involved in murders and mysteries. There's 3 books in the series. The one that was both Bar None and Last Call came out pretty close together the end of last year, one in July and one in November. So I'm working on the 3rd one. It's called Straight Up, and it will continue that character, and will also continue part of the story from Last Call. But she has a good pal, Thomas Sully Sullivan. He's her landlord and her friend. She has good friends from her bar, and they will sort of work together and help each other to solve these mysteries.
So there are 3 books in the series so far, but you're working on the next one?
I'm working on the 3rd one. I'm almost finished with that. And then there will probably be a 4th.
Gotcha. Okay. So what's the 3rd one called again?
The 3rd one is called Straight Up, a Murder on the Rocks mystery. So they all have that tagline, same tagline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What inspired you to write about a mystery series set in a bar?
Well, my husband was in the restaurant business for many, many years before he left that business. And I used to go visit him. He always worked close to where he lived, and I would visit him at the bar. I got to know all the people, the waiters, the waitresses, the cooks, and the other staff. And it was just fun. It was a fun kind of an environment. And he always said, Oh, he thought maybe he'd write a book someday, but I knew he was not going to really do that. So I just sort of stole his idea. No murders ever took place at the bars where he worked or anyone involved in any. So it was
But
just fun.
your husband's work basically inspired it.
Yes, yes. Well,
Did
from
you?
going there, not his particular work,
I
but
understand. Just the kind of like the vibe of the bar scene, so to
yeah,
speak.
yeah, everybody got to be like family, which is
Hmm.
what I was trying to sort of convey in these books. That Jude and her bartenders and her friends and her customers, the close ones, they all get to know each other and be like family.
That's really cool. Um, would you say your mysteries tend to lean more toward cozy or more snarky or more edgy? How would you describe them?
Well, she's a very snarky character. Um, that's part of her character, and um, but I don't see them as cozy. Although I think some people think they are like go halfway towards cozy. I see them more as just mystery suspense stories. Really, they're not.
Hmm.
These are not thrillers, but yes, and there's a lot of snark going on.
I like
This,
the idea of the bar scene as a family. That
yeah,
seems to be a kind of a good theme for settings in which a lot of people play a part.
yes, because I mean, honestly, I don't know how they are now because, well, besides everything being closed this last year, but it was like that wherever Paul worked. We had, close ties with some of the people that worked there. So it was nice. It was a nice environment. We used to bring our daughter there from when she was a baby to one of the places, and she had a couple of play dates there. And I would think, oh my God, the mother is never going to let my daughter play with her kid again. I would sit by the bar, Shirley Temples or something, and
I
so
think that's cool.
it was a good environment. It wasn't a bad environment.
Exactly. Um, how would they compare to, say, tone wise with the Laurel and Helen New York mysteries? I saw those listed and all I could think of was Laurel and Hardy.
Well, um, these mysteries, the new ones, are written in the first person. So everything we see is through Jude's point of view and through her attitude. Helen and Laurel, Helen is a PI and Laurel is a magazine editor, and they kind of that's all in third person, so they're giving you an overview of the whole story from both of their perspectives. But I have them kind of in alternating chapters. So first it's one, then it's the other one, and that's how they solve the puzzle of the crimes that they are investigating. But those are out of print, unfortunately, right now. I have to figure out what I want to do with them. So
Well, you can always self publish them.
I can. I'm thinking of that. I may use one of those services to format them and then self-publish them.
Hmm. Um, let's see. How do you choose which one to work on in terms of you have like Out of Sight and that other one with Nick and
Oh
his
yeah, and his pal, yeah, Marina.
yeah.
I'm probably not going to do any more of those. I wrote a novella and then I wrote a novel, and that was really fun because he's a different kind of character as well. He's a professional gambler, sort of suave and cool, but he's like gets confused sometimes about like what's really going on, although he's very smart and he helps to solve the crime. But I think I'm going to leave those alone for a while. I'm trying to figure out what to do with those two books too. One has been out of print, the other one is still in print, but I don't know what I want to do about them at the moment. I'm going to continue with this series to finish the third book, and then the fourth one I was going to I had a plot in mind, but I'm not sure that's going to be the plot. I might call that Whiskey Soured um, as the
Hmm.
title. It depends what I decide to write for it. So they'll all
Interesting.
have a type or theme, title going across them.
Just so you know, Joe Conrad did one called Whiskey Sour.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that.
It's an older title, but yes, Joe Conrad. Whiskey Sour.
Is it?
His protagonist is, I believe it's Jack Daniels is her name.
That makes
Jacqueline
sense.
Daniels. Anyway, a shout out to Joe Conrad there.
Take a
um,
look.
yeah, yeah. He writes really exciting stuff too. Um, let's see. How did you decide which perspective to tell your stories from in each case?
Well, because I wanted to, in the Laurel and Helen mysteries, I wanted to use two people. I thought that would be an interesting way. I had this idea about a female detective. I had seen an article a very long time ago about this woman who liked to go undercover and wear all these crazy disguises. And I thought, oh, that would be like a fun detective to write. And then I thought, well, what if she gets involved with this other person who she knows, but she's a magazine editor and they work together. So that kind of came about that way. But for these books, I just thought the first person, a more intimate kind of view would be better. And I'm not going to change the fourth one to be third person. It's going to stay in the first person all the way through, and they're very different kinds of characters.
Sounds like it, yeah. Do you plan out the number of books you want to write for a series, or are you just taking it book by book?
Right now I'm taking it book to book. The other series was 3, and I thought that was good for that. It was I was exploring some ideas that I like to write about things that are current or sort of the rip from the headlines stories. So in those 3 books, I looked into the mob and hidden identity and repatriated Nazi art, stolen Nazi art, and diamond smuggling. So those are 3 kind of things that are, I mean, the art thing is still going on now. It's out there. But these books were more of fantasy kind of, not, they're not fantasy, but in my head, they were more of a fantasy kind of thing. They're still, the story in Last Call is about a New Year's Eve, a killer who strikes on New Year's morning. And that's Jude finds the body in her dumpster and she recognizes it. And it's the younger brother of her customer and neighbor. And she's devastated and she starts to investigate. And then she finds out that the killer might be someone who's actually close to home. But that actually happened in New York long time ago at Times Square. A big, strapping, blonde, blue-eyed young man from Norway or someplace like that, I don't remember where he was from, disappeared. He just disappeared out of that throng of, how many people are there on New Year's Eve. So I always thought that would be a good story.
Yeah,
So
definitely. Wow. And I can't help but notice it took place on New Year's Eve 1999. And I thought, wow, remember when Y2K was our biggest concern?
yes, that's the first, that's like sort of the prologue chapter. And then the rest starts on New Year's Eve in 2018. I decided not to do it on 2019 because there's no restaurants now. So I kept it in the same year as the first book. I thought I just don't want to have to be explaining about a pandemic, and it just wasn't going to work. The restaurant needed to be up and running and open. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, well, actually, yes, Y2K, I mentioned that in the prologue too. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
was so nervous that everything was going to just fail. I remember when I was working then, and some people had to go into the office to be there in case there was a problem.
Yeah,
Or to
wow. I'll never forget that. I mean, I think we went out that night even, and it's like, okay, nothing happened. Okay, we're cool. Very unusual times, getting
I
us
know.
prepared for more unusual times, I guess.
Yeah,
Would you
that's how
consider
rumors
yourself?
get started.
Hmm?
That's how rumors get started, right? That something was going to happen.
It was a harbinger. What's to
Yes.
come? Oh Lord. Would you call yourself a plotter or pantser?
No, I'm definitely a pantser.
Really?
I'm just
Wow.
writing, I was just writing something for Sirens of Suspense. We're going to be doing a well, hopefully a bunch of them, but we're doing like a program on Zoom for one of the libraries in Westchester, and there's three of us, and we're each taking a section. So I was talking about the elements that go into a crime novel, and that I am a pantser because I like to add things as I go that, ooh, this could make it more interesting. Or I did that in the book I'm working on now. Um, there's a character who Jew encounters, which I hadn't really thought about until I thought, now let's see, she's going to go do this. Oh, and then it was sort of came to me. And also, I think just for me, it makes it a little more interesting. I can have subplots. I suppose if you're a plotter, you can still, change things as you go. But I've never really written that way. I always know the beginning, and I always have kind of an idea how it's going to end. So I
Yeah,
prefer writing.
that's kind of, I'm more of a plotter, but I always feel like it's more like a guideline. It's not like,
Yeah,
okay, everything is
right.
set in stone now and I'm just going to write it. It's not really the way it works for me.
No, I mean, I change things as I go as well, too. I mean, I think a lot of people do that. So,
I think you kind of have to, because I think after a while the characters just kind of start talking back at you and saying, no, this is what you got to do.
yes, I
Something
said
like
that in
that.
my presentation, too. Like, they talk to you, they tell you, I don't really want to go to that place. I want to do this instead.
This
But
is
of course,
totally inconsistent with my character. I have to do this. Let's see. I'm interested in Sirens of Suspense. You're doing this event for a local library?
yeah, we put there are three of us. There's Dawn Barkley, she writes as DM Barr, Lori Robbins, and myself. We're all members of Sisters in Crime. And that's how we know each other. We know each other a while. And we thought because of the pandemic and everything that's going on, people aren't getting out. So we contacted a bunch of libraries, and we have some bookings. We have a booking at a bookstore to actually sell our books, which would be nice.
That's
And
fantastic.
an interview with a columnist from the New York Post, and we had an article in the Post on January 2nd. So we got some replies from that for people who are interested. And we're basically going to talk about, what you need to do. And Dawn is going to talk about more of the resources that are available that people should look into. Lori was going to talk about genres and a few other things, and I was talking about the elements that go into a novel. So we hope, it'll be, I mean, we're not charging for this or anything. We're just doing it because we think it would be a good thing to do, really.
Well, that's wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful. When was the group founded, the Sirens of Suspense?
Just like 2 months ago. We just decided to do it a couple of months. I mean, it's brand new.
That's
And
great.
we started writing to people, to see if we could get articles about us or bookings explaining what we wanted to do. And I think we have 5 or 6 already. So
Oh my
that's good.
gosh. Well, I'm inspired by what you've done. That's fantastic.
Oh,
And anybody from around the world can tune into what you're doing.
exactly. Right.
That's wonderful. let's see, where can people access your Sirens of Suspense material?
Well, right now, we have a page on DM Bar's website because we don't have our own website up yet. But if they go there, there's a separate page with Sirens of Suspense. It explains who we are, what we're doing, and if they're interested in us having a presentation, giving a presentation to their group. We were thinking of like libraries, women's groups, reading groups, nursing homes or care homes, things like that, where people really have been stuck for all this time, and people who like to read. So we have a variety of programs we can offer. We're going to do another one about using your memories, not writing a memoir, but writing fiction with it and how to fictionalize that. And anyone, if they have something special they want us to talk about, they can ask us and we would do that. So
Well, it sounds like a wonderful program.
I'll send you the link so you could just take a look at it if you're interested in looking at it.
That would be fantastic. Thank you. And I will share it on the blog also.
Okay.
That goes with this podcast. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we finish up?
No, unless you have any other specific questions.
Oh, let's see. How are things in New York generally right now?
Well, it's just we were just talking about it a little while ago. Besides all the horrible things that happened this week, which are not happening, they're happening closer to you, really.
Yeah.
But it's just like the restaurants we like are not going to be. I mean, not that we would be going now, honestly. We did have like a few drinks outside over the summer, but we haven't been in any place. But several of them have closed. The dry cleaners closed. All these little stores are closing, and it's sad, really. It's very sad, and people just don't seem to have any energy left. It's been such a long time, and I'm hoping that we're going to get the vaccine soon because it's kind of been slow here in distributing it. So the governor is getting annoyed at the hospitals, and the mayor is getting annoyed at the governor, and that doesn't help. We need to just get the vaccine to people.
Yeah, that's a big issue right now. Yeah. Well, I just want to thank you for your time, Cathi. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you for having me. It's fun to do this, so thank you.
Well, thank you. And do check out Sirens of Suspense and Cathy's website. Your website is what then?
Oh, my website is cathystoller.com, www.cathystoller.com. The website for Sirens of Suspense is dmbar.com, but I'll send it to you because it's on a separate page of her website until we get our own up.
Well, very good. That's excellent. I think that's a great thing you're doing.
I hope so. I mean, it's kind of be fun, but I hope it's, hope people find it interesting.
Yeah, well, you have to try to get out there any way you can. It's tough right now. Don't forget that Cathi is also doing a giveaway of Bar None, and you can find the details in last Friday's blog post. Also, by the time this goes up on YouTube, the special offer on Patreon will be up and running. Don't miss the chance. Just a question for my guests on this show. We want to know what you want to know about crime writing and the authors. Go to my website, debbiemack.com, and look for the Crime Cafe link so you can access the Patreon page there. And with that, I'll just say I'll see you in 2 weeks when our next guest will be James H. Roby. In the meantime, happy reading.